Begin PODFIX network transmission in 3, 2, 1.
Hey everybody, this is former WWF Light Heavyweight Champion Gilbert, brother, and you're listening to the Cretins Guild podcast.
Get this over with. Let's just get right into it.
Let's just violate morality as a whole. Where did that phrase come from?
And that's how you start a Cretins Guild podcast.
You flatulent piece of shit.
Oh, God.
So you got enough saved up.
Not anymore.
For an opening performance.
I just emptied the reserves.
Oh, God.
Hello, Cretins.
We really are PODFIX's Just Fart and Pony show, aren't we?
If we make it to 100.
I'm so ashamed.
Speaking of which,
ashamed yet so proud.
This is episode 96 of the Cretins Guild podcast. Hi, Corey.
Hi. What are you doing? Wait,
I can't believe Jay's missing out on this. Uh-oh. Well, we start off, and Corey is starting to lag a little bit. Hey, Corey, jump out and jump back in as quickly as you can. I'll go ahead and read the intro. All right, so, hi, guys. Thanks for tuning
back?
in. Yes, I do hear you. Yes.
Okay, all right. No, it's a hardware thing. Man.
Okay. We are a rousing start here. We're like an hour behind when we normally record.
Well, what the people aren't seeing was that we were having a nested cavalcade of hardware issues, stemming mostly from my end because of Microsoft's stellar attention to hardware troubleshooting and whatever the fuck else. By the way, if somebody is thinking about hopping onto the Surface Book 3 train, do some research. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, let's go ahead and get this over with while we can.
Right.
So we are part of the PODFIX network. Go ahead and join them at podfixnetwork.com.
Yeah.
PODFIX like a motherfucker.
Yep. And it's you see, you're farting in my heart. My computer's just farting out. And we've just got a whole entirely anally explosive thing going on here.
See, this is the quality Patreon content you get.
You aren't making people pay for this, are you?
Well, not for this. This is totally for free.
All right, good. Because I would have to congratulate you on a scam well orchestrated.
Let me get through the intro. Let me finish, and then we can get into everything. All right. So since we're talking about PODFIX, our PODFIX spotlight for this episode would be the Old Man Orange podcast. That's not talking about Donald Trump, by the way. It is talking about Spencer Scott Holmes and Ryan Duglin, are two independent video makers and animators talking about movies, video games, comics, life, and more.
You know, new, classier shit than we talk about.
Well, that narrows it down to everybody.
Uh-huh.
They also refer to new and old and somewhere in between. I'm still reading their promo.
Yeah. If it was ours, it would just be old and somewhere in between our ass
titty
cheeks.
Fart, poop.
Yep.
Yeah, that's our cast in a nutshell.
Degenerate beatboxing. Right there.
By the way,
all right.
We've been carrying this for so long. Episode 96. We are nearing that magical number, episode 100. If you'd like to record a nice thing to say, or even better, a nasty thing to say, I don't know if it can get any nastier than what we've done so far on this particular episode. You can also plug your own stuff, say your piece, and send it to cretinsguild.com.
That was fantastic.
Cretinsguild at gmail.com. I got to give the whole email. We don't have a .com yet. That was the whole purpose behind our Patreon, which we never really got enough support with. But we got some support. So thank you guys. Thank you.
That's absolutely fine. And now we've made it through the less scatological portion of the show.
Yeah, the part of the show we actually plan out. We can't even get through that without tripping over our own faces.
Have you ever heard a show that is as obsessed with the digestive functions as we are, that has nothing to do with cooking?
I'm sure there's a German one out there somewhere.
Well, okay. I don't think that's going to be about cooking, though. There's going to be a little bit of an overlap, I guess, between eating and whatever that podcast could allegedly be in my diseased mind about. But I don't think it's going to be. I don't think it's going to be cooking.
Hans, would you like another strudel?
I don't know. Is that bigotry? Oh, fuck it. Whatever. Yes, just don't put it in my mouth this time, yeah. I like to take the shortcut. Yes, thank you. Shut the fuck up, man. All right. So, what have you been up to?
Oh my God.
What has your life been bringing you through in the last week that we've talked?
Aside from the nonsense that's been going on with my office, that's just seems to be a never-ending tailspin of depravity going on in there.
Yeah, you just informed me of that before the show, though. But you know, it's all broadcasting dynasties have to go through renovations and updates.
Yeah, I kind of hiccups every once in a while. Like earlier this year, I had my house was struck by a surge and fried a bunch of electronics in the house. And I came home Sunday night and I heard a hissing sound coming from the wall. I was like, is there a speaker dying or something? Because I don't know what that sound is. Like, oh no. Please don't be a busted pipe in the wall. I went outside, I shut off water to the house, I came back in, and there was no sound. And I was like, I hope it's a rattlesnake in the wall. I'll take that over a busted pipe any day. And nope, it was a pinhole leak in the master bath leading into that's on the opposite side of my office wall.
I was about to actually bring that up because that's one of your things. That's what makes your emotional tapestry up is you're not so fond of snakes.
Yeah, and I'd rather take a snake over a busted pipe.
Yeah. Wait.
Wait, yes, go back. You know what? No, I think I'd rather take the snake over a busted pipe.
No, you fucking take the snake. And you're going to take it like a champ over having a busted pipe, which also... Oh,
no, I'll be crying the whole way.
Need I point that out, is just as much of a double entendre as it is for you to take a snake. Anyway, that's a weird thing. You never really encounter that sort of discussion that much in a casual setting, like at work or wherever, about fears and whatnot. Because I don't think it's been mentioned once that... I don't think we've actually talked about this like anytime recently, but snakes is like one of your most deeply embedded fears, right? Or a phobia.
Oh yeah, it's not really a secret either. I see a snake and I panic or I freeze first, and then once it starts moving, I jump straight up in the air.
Yeah.
I can't handle. I don't know what's something about snakes. The way they slither, just get me the fuck out of here. It's not natural. I don't want to be anywhere around it.
Yeah, most of the time you don't even have to have like a reason. I mean, most snakes I'm not really afraid of, but yeah, having lived in Florida for as long as we have, if you see one that looks even kind of close to a coral snake, well, you're not going to fucking hug it. You're certainly not going to tug it because that's not going to feel good at all.
The snake?
The snake, right. Yes, but it's out of fear.
We're still keeping it classy, folks.
But snakes actually don't bother me a whole lot, and I find like a fair like cross section of them kind of like weirdly cute. So I'm not going to try to like I'm not going to try to like sell you on the whole acceptability of snakes as like either aesthetically or tactily pleasing or tactically pleasing. Well, but most fears you can't really overanalyze or even dissect. Most of them are just felt,
Yeah, for a while I was starting to like get over it. I find a snake in the backyard, I grab a shovel and I kill it. I still shake and have the body shivers and everything, but especially how its tail's wrapping around the shovel handle. It's like, oh god, it's dead. Don't worry, it's dead.
Yeah, your shit gets triggered. That's like a very deeply embedded thing.
Yeah, I think what superimposed the fear even more was about a year and a half, 2 to 3 years ago, somewhere in that time frame. I get up in the morning to go to work, and I have my pants laid out like on the floor right next to the dresser or whatever. I pick them up, and I hear something fall out and then start making some kind of noise.
A susurration, if you will.
Yeah. A snake had gone in the house and was in my pant leg.
Huh?
Yeah, I don't know how. I was terrified. I jumped straight up in the air. I yelled at Alicia, "There's a snake in my pants!"
All right,
and I swear to God, I think she thought I was trying to like solicit her for sex. She's like, "I'm not interested right now." And you want to know how much of a badass she is once she figured out what I was talking about, she grabbed the sandal that was over by the door and smashed it on the head. God. And carried it out with toilet paper.
Because that was the alternative she would have preferred.
I can't blame her.
Well, did you? Okay, well, here's the thing that I want to know now. Are you sure it? Well, for one thing, did you check your 10-gallon hat and boots?
They were full.
Secondly, okay, did you make sure that there were no campfires up on a cliffside near the house? Did Gabby make off with the gold? Bob, you live in a fucking house. I know that Florida's got problems. How on earth did a snake get in your house and into your pants?
If I knew how it got in the house, I would have plugged up that hole and then walled it off and bricked it over.
All right.
So it never happened again because snakes have gotten into this house twice.
All right. Was Elisha Cook there? Was anybody whistling? What the hell, dude?
I don't know. Maybe they're shooting a Britney Spears commercial next door. I don't know.
Was Jake the Snake going to shoot on you in the living room? That's fucking bonkers.
It was a really, really, really tiny, I think they're called racers.
Black racer.
It was, but it was kind of multicolored, but it still was the non-poisonous variety. We looked it up later. And yeah, it was. I've seen them once outside, and I see why they're called racers, because when they see you, they take off they took off like a freaking bullet.
Yeah.
And that's what this one was trying to do, but I guess it hadn't had sun for a number of hours, so it was exhausted. Yep, first of the night.
For the first one? Really? Shit. I better step things up. That's one of those uniquely Floridian experiences, is going out into the backyard, picking up twigs, maybe getting a little edging done, and then all of a sudden a snakehead flies out from between the blades of the edger. It's like, oh, that's my one for the week.
Yep.
I have a snake story. No, actually, I've got a couple of them. But
save it to your best one.
The best one?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, the best one would have to have been. I get the feeling we've talked about this on the podcast before. I hope we haven't, because
I'll tell you if we have.
Is not is not optimal. But this was the time we're all latchkey kids growing up, I believe, right?
Pretty much.
Yeah. Well, this was when I was coming home from school, North Fort Myers, where I met you guys, and going through the back porch, and we have this. The way the house is laid out is that we have two entrances from the front and the back, because our property was actually sat on a 1 acre wide median in the middle of some prefab suburbs.
Right.
So on entrance number 2. There is the patio, which goes, around the pool and whatnot, and we kept the barbecue out there. Barbecue is temporary housing for where we kept the keys. The keys were kept inside of a little Tupperware bowl, and Tupperware is stuff that we shoved all of our hopes and dreams into back in the early 90s before we became adults, because we're fucking old. Mm-hmm. So I got home, put my backpack down, closed the door. It's nice and sunny outside, screened-in porch, cake, and I opened up the barbecue lid. Huge friggin' black dreadnought, and I reach over for the Tupperware thing, not even looking inside of it really, and then I hear this, and I look down, and my hand's hovering over the lid of the orange Tupperware container. Right underneath my arm is a fucking Diamondback. So. It's kind of it's not really rattling, so it's not rearing up or anything. I heard it move around a little bit, and the rattle moved with it, But I see it just kind of coiled down there, kind of chilling, and I'm stuck there. With my right hand holding up this lid, my left hand hovering over this Tupperware container, absolutely petrified in indecision. And I swear to God, it was 2 hours and 10 minutes that I was standing there, but it wasn't. It was 1 second of me trying to figure out what the fuck to do. Well, at some point, the idea of moving my arm slowly away from the Tupperware container and then slowly lowering the lid seemed feasible enough to pull off. So I went ahead and did that. And then I left and I called my parents. And I'm like, all right, I got a story.
Okay. All right. Which of your parents did you call first?
I called my mom. My dad couldn't be arsed. I mean, well, he was usually on call and out and about Fort Myers. He was the air conditioning king of Lee County, and he had a lot of shit to do. So his responsibilities were many.
I would have loved to hear his response if you called him first.
He was amazed. Like, I've never seen him wrapped in anything I ever had to say as much as he was that day when me and my mom were telling him what was going on. Because my mom had to come home. Well, she didn't have to come home, but she called Animal Control, gave her our address. By the time Animal Control came over, I'd already hung out over at my friend Mark's house for like an hour or so. And we got back home, and Animal Control was there, and she was there. And she looked at me like, "Are you shitting me?" Like, she looked right at me, like I was somehow violating like a metric shit ton of lottery luck, having survived that situation, you know. And then I cashed in all of my good days on that one day, in that 1 second. And she's looking at the snake like, where the fuck do one of these even come from out here? Because it looked like a typical like an animal that you would see wrangled off of the set of a Western. It was every bit the prototypical like
somebody flying from Arizona dropped it out of a plane.
Yeah, it was a stereotypical poison hose. And this guy is just like he's got it in one of those really long pitchforks, just holding it up. Another guy's putting a net underneath it. Yeah, whatever the fuck those things are called.
No, I know the snake pole things with the curve.
Yeah, and one of the guys was just like, "Yeah, now that's a snake." And I was like, "Thank you, Mr. Florida."
I was gonna say, was this the crocodile hunter?
Yeah, I look forward to hearing more stories about you and seeing many of your future headlines in perpetuity. So yeah, that was my big ass snake story. And then we told my dad later on, and he was like, he had a chuckle at that. Fuck yeah. So after that, I should have been like deathly afraid of snakes, but I'm not. My fears are like way weirder than anything, you know, kind of reasonable like that.
Yeah, I know one of your big fears that I find a little odd. I'm not sure if you want me to share it.
Oh yeah, throw it out there.
Black holes. Yeah,
the black hole phobia. Right. I don't know where that came from. I think.
Did you have a bad experience with a black hole?
Yeah, well, it's the wildest shit. I was like driving up the beach line one day, and all of a sudden a black hole opened up right in the middle of the road, and then it just got sucked in, and then displaced geographically and chronologically somewhere around the Earth. Just so happened because my luck sucks. I was displaced in Sanford in about 2 minutes from that point. No,
I thought you were about to say Claremont.
Claremont. I don't know. Claremont has that pretty sweet British eatery. I don't know. So it would have made out. I think it might have stemmed from one of my first experiences. Hey, we get to keep this relevant to your to Cretins Guild topics here, or at least your channel's topicality. One of my first experiences at a theme park was going to Disney, and my parents like strong-arming me onto Space Mountain because, oh my god, you're going to fucking love Space Mountain. And because it's like soft roller coaster.
Oh, okay. The wheels are starting to turn. I know where this is going.
Yeah, and it was like absolutely terrifying to me because even at that age, I knew that there was something innately unnatural about like ricocheting all over an enclosed space that you can't see all that well in.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, given the alternative, we've all seen Space Mountain with the lights on,
and that's scarier.
Yeah, it's not like you're winning in any of those situations. If you walk into Space Mountain, abandon all hope when you're a child. That's the point. So we got in the car, and they're loud as balls. Even in like 1988, they're like, a bunch of grocery carts just fucking getting mauled by a Ford F-150. In a maze of cargo containers. And seriously, Space Mountain sounds like the entire mountain is just a tin bucket and somebody threw a bunch of fucking Coke tabs in there. It doesn't sound cohesive or very safe.
No, well.
And I wasn't one of the smartest kids I don't think I'm still one of the smartest kids. But even I knew that at that point, that ride was on borrowed time. So in terms of texture, the fear was already well set. Now, what happens next is that my dad likes to make a show out of like getting me hyped around stuff and whatnot. So like one instance I can remember of him like taking me on the riding mower. He's like, woo! You know, like he's busting Broncos with it. And I had like a McDonald's toy that blew out into the yard somehow. I think I left it on a park bench that was in front of the house. And I'm like screaming my ass off, Dad, there's a thing in there. And he keeps going, yeah, that's right. Woohoo! Well, he was doing that on Space Mountain because he was about to
he was in full Earnhardt mode.
Yeah, he was completely like he knew that the seatbelt was loose, but he didn't care. The reason he was excited in that situation was because he was about to run over the McDonald's toy, and he took great joy in that for some weird reason. So he was doing that on Space Mountain, just whooping and hollering, and we're taking some pretty tame turkey legs. I realized at that point, and then we go into like the black hole bit that I think is one of the mid-ride inclines, where it's the red lights and it's going right, and we get up to the top there. And we see the giant spinning facsimile of the Milky Way that's projected onto the top of Space Mountain. And my dad goes and points up and says, look, we're heading towards a black hole. But by that point, younger me has quite a bit enough of this fucking ride. So as soon as we hit the top of the crest, like, trauma sets in. Boom. And symbolically, the only thing I can associate with that moment is that projection of the Milky Way galaxy that I have come to know as the black hole because of my dad's lack of astronomical knowledge. So the rest of the ride I don't really remember because I wasn't interested in it. Yeah. And then we got off crying. I'm just done. My face is damp and my t-shirt's, cold because it's covered in liquid. And I didn't go on Space Mountain again until maybe the first time I went with you in high school. So that must have been a number, like maybe even 10 years later.
That might have been the last time I've been on it because the last time I went on Space Mountain, the lights came on at some part. I don't know if you were with me or not, but I have not been on since.
I have never seen Space Mountain with the lights on from within the ride. I've only seen it on the People Mover. And that's quite enough. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's all you need.
Yeah, it looks like a Volkswagen that's gotten caught in head-on collision with at least 4 semi-tractor trailers all at once.
It looks like a Studebaker has been stripped down.
It looks like the Terminator is trying to bend over and suck itself off. Just a very large version of the Terminator. A very large, perverted version of the Terminator.
Okay.
And either way, in either case... In any of those cases, none of those visuals is all that inviting to me. So, like, whenever I, do get on Space Mountain, I kind of like hunch over, like, reflexively. Did you used to do that?
I was, and I didn't really know, like, instinctively why I was doing that. And then when the lights went on, I realized how close. I mean, obviously, the beams you go under, there's enough space for you to pass under. But with the lights on, you could see how close they are, and they're still a good distance away, but they feel like they're just right on top of your head.
But there's a reason it's such a breezy ride. It's not because there's like a lot of air conditioning being piped into that structure or anything. It's because you're passing by galvanized fucking steel at 20 miles an hour, and it's like maybe 2.5 feet away from your dumbass tourist face, You're inviting that sort of risk onto that ride, and every time you hear whoo, 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 and your hair blows back, you're recognizing that for yourself.
Yeah,
I don't know.
That's probably what's killed it for me on that ride.
Now as adults, we tend to think of that risk in like heavier terms. But even I took my nephew on it a couple of years ago, and that was the first time he was on it, and he was like, "Oh man, that was cool. I'm never doing that again."
Smart kid.
We walked out of it alive, and you know what? I'm appreciative. I'm glad we decided to look Hades in the mouth at least once in my life, and you know what? I'm never taking any risks ever again, for as long as I shall live. And he's like 18. No, he was like 14 at the time. Anyway, it's a very real death trap, and we nobody really thinks about it because it's on Disney property. But there's a reason that people always gravitate towards Thunder Mountain first. It's because, all right, we got to get ourselves emotionally steeled for something that we know is not dangerous.
Well, I mean, it's fun to begin with.
Well, yeah, it's just a better ride, honestly. But
yeah, in every shape.
You went on the mining cart ride, right?
Oh yeah, I know you didn't have a pleasant experience, but I've been on it twice and I've been okay.
Yeah, that was. I think that might have been the last time Eli went to Disney or my nephew went to Disney, because it was first the Space Mountain, and he made it through that experience fairly unscathed, if a little bit, hesitant to try anything ever again. And then he went on the minecart right afterwards, which delivered on Space Mountain's promises and just beat the living shit out of him. Yeah. Fun times at the House of Mouse.
Well, speaking of which, we don't do segues here. We don't do them well.
Fuck no, that's for professionals. Come on. We live a little bit harder here. Space Mountain. What's that?
Oh, you got.
Here, let me see this.
Someone's talking to you.
Yeah,
hi, Mary.
She's
eating up our time.
How dare you eat up our time? Suck it up, a buttercup.
No, I heard it quite clear.
She said, without twisting a mustache or doffing a bowler hat. All right, she's trying to show off her lack of. Yeah, that's really light. And then this is the pen that Microsoft tries to sell you with the Surface Book 3. And she was telling me earlier how this one doesn't seem to work, and it just kind of like hugs the side of the monitor, and then like a light breeze will take it off.
For those of you listening to the audio podcast, Corey's holding a pair of pens.
Yeah, I know. This is scintillating radio, isn't it?
Yeah, and I'm also not editing, so
that's true. Oh, it's Taquito Monday. It's not even alliterative. You couldn't wait for Tuesday?
It is Tuesday. Wait.
That's true. Yeah. Just remember, you could
Japan,
turn into a gremlin.
Wednesday.
Oh my god. Hey, what if? Hold on a second. Hey, has like, okay, not to de-nerd or derail.
Too late.
Okay, yes, I'm derailing. Fucking whatever. You bought the ticket. Okay, so Gremlins. Well, Mogwai turn into Gremlins after midnight, right? Or after they have snacks.
Okay. Yeah, I know this. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I'm pretty sure that some like other more well-known nerd entity has like gone over this, but has there ever been a question of like time zones or medians?
There has not, but I think the best explanation I've ever heard was the Mogwai's body recognizes the equinox of the sun on the opposite side of the planet. Therefore, that triggers as midnight. But the confusing part is, when is it okay to eat after midnight? Because technically, every time is after midnight.
Even 11:59. It's about 23 hours and 59 minutes after midnight.
Well, yeah, but you can't eat after midnight. When does that restriction lift? Like 6 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, 7 o'clock, noon?
Yeah. It's not like Animal Crossing where like at 5 a.m. all of a sudden everything just kind of resets. It's not like Mogwai. Well, it's not like Mogwais are real.
Only we can have this kind of argument.
I mean, French bulldogs are real. They're kind of like Mogwai. I'm not feeding them after midnight either.
Wait till sunrise.
Wait till sunrise. Yeah, it's not like it's ever been explicitly stated that their genealogy can recognize like a lack of.
Well, what doesn't make sense is the first two rules are very crystal clear and very straight cut. Don't get them wet.
Yeah.
And don't expose them to light. Okay. Well, like that one's a little vague too. Like, what kind are we talking? White light, black light, low light, high light?
I think it's natural sunlight, and I think if you think about it in terms of,
remember, he was even sensitive to natural, artificial light.
Oh, he was. Oh, well, that movie was so well lit. I never would have thought about that. I don't know. It was. It's one of the better things about that movie. First of all, the getting them wet, that's got to be bullshit. Otherwise, that would be the smelliest fucking thing in that whole house. And that kid would have gotten rid of it like the second it came out of the box. Because as soon as it opens up, it's like, Mogwai! I would have been, God damn it, Dad. What's in this wrapping? Just a bunch of used odor eaters. Jesus.
Okay, so here's a question. Like, what if a Mogwai is being shipped through the mail? Mm-hmm. Don't question that part. But as the USPS normally does, they usually damage some of their parcels. Let's say some water damage got into there and got on the Mogwai. Does he just constantly reproduce to the point where all the Mogwai inside the box are now squished?
Oh, that's disgusting.
And therefore, their blood, which is now sporing out, is getting on other Mogwai, so they just keep multiplying due to the blood.
Okay, an argument can't be made for the feasibility of not getting them wet. I know they only say wet, but he spills water on Gizmo, or Gizmo like falls in a fountain or some silly thing, and then a bunch of boop, 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 but a bunch of other Mogwais come out.
Which looks like a totally 100% painful situation he went through.
Yeah, because do they just gestate in a matter of microseconds? Well, okay.
Are they considered offspring?
Yeah, see, the thing is, I believe they are, which is why they're always trying to kill Gizmo, because, children hate their parents. But the thing is, I believe that the feasibility of not getting them wet, if you explicitly say what they're not supposed to come in contact with, that can apply, because you could be, all right, H2O. This compound itself might have this adverse chemical reaction to Mogwais. Okay, well, why that specific chemical compound? Well, it's most abundant on Earth.
Well, what if you spill beer on it?
I don't think beer would work. I think they'd get drunk. I mean, Gremlins were drinking beer like crazy in the second movie, weren't they? They were like getting all high and shit. Right. Well, martinis, whatever. I shouldn't remember that much about that second movie. Sorry. What? Oh, okay. Well, and thinking in terms of of Mogwais being asexual and not reproducing, in the fun way. For you furries out there, you're welcome.
I never saw any dangly parts on Mogwai there.
Oh, right. And I wouldn't want to either, because you wouldn't want to buy the plushes if you did.
There's our thumbnail.
This is how you know we're cooking with gas. Mogwai dicks. Okay. All right.
Gizmo, you're a tripod.
Okay, in order for Mogwai to keep reproducing, something would have to act as an actuator. So, not to be, John Voight National Treasure, water, I guess, reproductive reagent. It's all over the place, but it's not so ubiquitous that, unless you live in Florida, you're not going to be, walking down the Mogwai trail to go get some Snickers or something and trip into a puddle accidentally. Oh. Then all of a sudden, what?
Good point. Huh. Florida, all the freaking humidity in the air. Does that count?
I think it still has to be concentrated. Because if you think about Floridian humidity, most of it stems from the fact that we are surrounded that Florida is surrounded on all sides by ocean, which also contains saline compounds. And I don't...
Yeah, would salt water work on a Mogwai?
I don't think so. I don't think it would. I think it does have to be not purified water, because it's not like they're only going to be getting off to Evian or anything. But it has to be water enough in order for it to work. Okay, so you know how you can have a beer, and a particular type of beer will get you buzzed in an appreciably brief amount of time, and then some beer takes longer.
Yeah, the alcohol content.
Yeah, and then there's fucking O'Doul's, which is still technically beer. It's just not alcoholic.
Right.
Saltwater could be the O'Doul's to the Mogwai's genetic makeup. I don't fucking know. This is an unbelievable conversation. Anyway, so that's how I think.
I love how we spent 10 minutes on it, too.
No, hey, it works. It works, and, it's our show, so, fucking what she said, suck it up. So that's how I think water has some, plausibility about it. The sunlight thing, I guess because there's nocturnal and diurnal. I'm sorry, just nocturnal animals. Bats, whatever. And I read somewhere that is why they look explicitly bat-like, because that was supposed to be a reference to possible evolutionary chain.
I would buy that.
Not eating after midnight though. Time is a man-made concept. A, B. I think if they explained it away as being a little bit more having to do with the whole sunlight factor of their genetic vulnerabilities, then it might make sense. If they couldn't eat when the sun was out, it would cause some sort of like a weird chemical chain reaction. But after midnight, that's some straight up fairy tale bullshit right there. As opposed to everything else in the movie that I have just like bent over backwards trying to explain.
It's a Christmas classic.
It is. It technically is. I like the second one much better than the first one though. I don't know why. A lot of people like felt like the second one was relying too heavily on like gimmickry and shit. But the second one also has the most memorable scenes. The scenes from the first movie, there's two of them that I remember the most, are the old lady getting flung out of the house on her hoverbound chair, which is badass. I mean, they should have made a riot out of that. To be honest with you, like back in the day, it would have been like I don't know. I'm trying to think of another phrase for safe bet, but fuck it, whatever. That would have been great. It would have been a very short ride though, and that's probably why they didn't do it. But the other scene is at the end when Spike, or he was Spike in the first one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, is when Spike is melting in the daylight in the fountain, and then this little skeleton pops out.
Yeah.
That was the only scary movie in the entire movie. This is the only scary moment in the entire movie, and that one made me like, had to go pee pee. So
there's a couple jump scares in the kitchen scene.
I guess I don't know. I'd seen Poltergeist by that point. Kitchens were not going to trump anything that you saw in that, without going into hard R territory. But afterwards, you had Gremlins 2, and I remember like so many more scenes from that. I remember Christopher Lee torturing Gizmo. I remember the twin scientists that created like a rubberized tomato, because I was like, oh man, I want a rubber tomato. There was the smart gremlin. You remember him? I suppose everybody would. There was the gremlin with tits. There was the fact that Daniel.
Oddly enough, that part of the movie isn't what lost me.
It was the cross-dressing gremlin.
No, I was still on board at that point because.
Oh, you were still there?
Yeah, because I was like, it's a cartoon movie basically. The two parts about the sequel that I didn't like the most were the reintroduction of the neighbor. I forget the character's name, but
Dick Miller. It was damn it! I never remember his character's names. He's just Dick Miller to me.
Yeah. But in the first movie, he had like a tractor bust down his. Yeah, he had a tractor bust down his wall, and the last we see of him is a shot of him and his wife yelling as this thing is getting closer and closer, impending that they didn't survive that. And then he just shows up in the sequel in New York City for some reason.
Straight up, it's Dick Miller.
Yeah.
What we're going to assume about that scene is that after him and his wife scream at the tractor, Dick just stops screaming, says, "Wait a minute, I'm Dick fucking Miller," in a somewhat inconvenient realization of his own capacity as a Dick Miller. And then
I'm Dick Miller. They're going to clone my DNA and create Rob Riggle one day.
That's exactly right, except a much worse looking version of Dick Miller. And then he just spontaneously thrusts both forearms out into the grill of the tractor, just like boom, like this. Tractor stops, spins up off of his back heels, and Dick Miller uses that opportunity to plant a firm boot right in the grill of that thing and send it like 2 acres that way.
He recreated that famous Superman cover.
Yes, he fucking did. He just lifted that thing up and punted it across the neighborhood because he'd had enough of these gremlins, and by God, he wasn't going to let a wayward tractor ruin his Christmas.
Okay, I'll let that go then. But the other part of the sequel that just completely turned me off was like, okay, I was invested up to a certain point, but the Hulk Hogan scene, when that happened, was like, and And at this, I don't know how old I was. I was still within that Hulk Hogan age demographic at that time. But it's still, when that happens, like, really?
Yeah, that was dumb, but that was dumb, but I fucking loved it. That was after Joe Dante started making like serious coin for the movies he was making, which sadly still isn't the case nowadays. But I think by that point, people were like, okay, well here's like the friendlier John Carpenter that we, the PG-13 vending side of Hollywood, were looking for. And he made a killing with Gremlins because nobody had ever seen anything like that since then. You know, it's a callback to 50s era creature features, but with modern day special effects technology and big name actors like Zach and Dick Miller. But it banked, and so did his other movies. Like I'm not sure if The Burbs was like. I'm not sure if The Burbs was like a weekend killer or anything like that, but
I don't think it was.
They let him have the run of the place with Gremlins 2. Here's the thing: a lot of people don't know about Joe Dante until they see like more than 3 of his movies. This dude loves him some Warner Brothers. He's like hardcore about old Warner Brothers cartoons. And if you ever saw his segment in the Twilight Zone movie, the light would go off immediately when watching Gremlins 2. You're like, oh shit, this guy's getting his nut off, isn't he?
Oh, did he do the kid segment of the Twilight Zone?
He did the kids segment of the Twilight Zone. And that was kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy because before he started getting back into like doing the same sort of kid-friendly horror movies for streaming services, his last big budget film was Looney Tunes Back in Action, which is why it kicked ass, because it was Joe Dante. Yeah. So, some filmmaking trivia for you there. How the fuck did we get on the Gremlins, though?
I don't know. For the last close to 20 minutes, we've been talking about continuity errors in Gremlins and Mogwai Dick. So, how about we talk about some TV?
Right. I think it was... We were talking about Disney. Oh, fucking... Right, Loki.
You know what?
Loki just got done. Huh.
I really want to cover something that dropped today. I really want to cover that first. And if we have time, we'll go back to the other one.
Okay. No. Go ahead. Do it.
Oh, that's fine. So as of this recording, earlier this morning, it's funny how last night I put the pitch out to you and Jay. It's like, hey, you guys, you want to record? I don't care. Jay was like, I'm a little busy. And you're like, yeah, sure, whatever. We'll just chit chat, whatever. And then this goddamn morning, trailer dropped for something that starts in September on Disney Plus, and I watched it probably 6, 7, 8, 9. I just kept watching it over and over and over again. Star Wars Visions looks like it's going to be the very best Star Wars series ever made, in my opinion.
According to a lot of people, that's not a high hurdle to jump, but there's also Genndy Tartakovsky's Clone Wars stuff, or Clones? Rebels.
Well, the Star Wars TV shows have been really good. Bad Batch, Rebels, Clone Wars, those have all been great series.
Right.
This one looks like it, yeah.
But they're not typical, they're not traditional animation. They've always been 3D, except for when Tartakovsky did his series, like way back in the day. And
the mini-series.
Trying to remember what the name of it was. But
it was Clone Wars.
Right. Yeah.
But it was Clone Wars, the mini-series, not the regular series.
And that prefaced what eventually became the ongoing.
Yeah.
There we go. Okay. Yeah. So I watched it twice just because, I saw Trigger, and I'm probably going to watch those 2 episodes, if anything. But it's likely that I'm going to watch the whole thing.
I think there's going to be 9 episodes. I'm looking at my notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, 9 episodes. Trigger does
2 episodes.
Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5.
Yeah.
And then some of these other studios, I didn't really recognize their name, but when I looked at some of their work, it's like, oh, they did that show.
Production IG was the big one. I was kind of astounded by that. I mean, it's not like they would say no, because in addition to their own shows, they also provide production and animation services for other people. So why the fuck wouldn't they? It's just that like Production IG is tied to like so many like monoliths of anime. FLCL is a big one of theirs. me see. I believe they did animation services on Magical Shopping Arcade. Both of those were Gainax, but still, they were more or less like partner productions.
I went through their list, and that's right, they did East of Eden.
They did East of Eden. God, I still come across like hardcore anime people that are like, "What's East of Eden?" Fucking, you don't know. Well, go get the
didn't know?
Oh, you didn't know? Well, nerd it up. Watch some anime.
Yeah, they did a lot of really good stuff. They did a lot of Ghost in the Shell. Mm-hmm. I guess they're TV movies or OVAs. Mm-hmm. They did Batman Gotham Knight.
Yeah, Gotham Knight was kind of like this. The Batman Gotham Knight was kind of like a...
Oh, it was like a guest-produced episode?
It was like Star Wars Visions for Batman. It came out in the mid-2000s.
Oh.
Yeah, so it was a bunch of different ones.
They did episode 2.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I might need to check that out. I haven't seen that series.
Yeah, I ought to. And I do believe it is on HBO Max because we're just whoring ourselves out by now. The ones that I did not know about or recognize were a couple of them. It shamed me to say this. Like Science Saru was a new one to me. Geno Studio I had not heard of.
Geno Studio and Studio Colorido are like offset minor partners with Twin Engine Studio.
Okay. All right. Animation production company Twin Engine, and they have done.
Twin Engine did Vinland Saga. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I was like, that sounds vaguely familiar. Holy crap.
And
there's a little bit of catching up to get done there.
Row. Science Saru. I remember I looked them up, and what was the big name they did that I really liked?
Twin Engine are relatively new, also.
They started in, looks like 2014 was their first thing. They did Space Dandy, Japan Sinks. That came out last year.
You did see Space Dandy, right?
I want to say I did. I think I did.
That was
if not,
cool.
I will check it out.
It is. I don't think this is official because it was not animated by the same studio, but it takes place in the. It is adjacent to the Cowboy Bebop universe.
Oh.
Because it is a it's a Shinichiro Watanabe thing. He directed the series, and the currency that is referred to in the show or throughout the show is Wulongs, which was something that the good crew of the Bebop could never get a hold of too much. What the hell? There is a Space Dandy video game that came out. Oh, it's cute.
Science Saru also did a show called was this a show? Oh, it was a feature film called Ride Your Wave. That has really, really high marks. I need to check that out.
Oh, damn. Do you ever get like slightly ashamed when you haven't heard of something that's generally regarded as being like generally well regarded, I guess is how I should put it. Like,
not real. I mean, in some situations, like at work the other day, I had everybody around me talking about Schitt's Creek. It's like, oh, it's so good, it's so great, it's so great. I've never seen a single episode.
That's a weird one. Yeah, somebody that I worked with started talking to me about that like last year, and I thought it was just something that dropped on Netflix like very recently, and it had actually been on like FX since around 2011 or so. Mm-hmm. It's been around for a long time, and suddenly it just kind of got traction, even though it was on for about 6 seasons.
Yeah, some of those shows, I'll admit, I'm a little late to the party. Like Letterkenny, I didn't start. What are they on? Season 7? I think I started watching season 5.
Yeah, but they were on Canadian television for about 75% of its runtime, and they just got picked up in 2018 by 2018 or 2019 by Hulu. You're forgiven there.
Okay.
The Schitt's Creek, I believe. Oh, okay. It actually started on 2015, and it just wrapped up in 2020, but didn't start getting any traffic until Netflix had picked it up for streaming. So. That's a bummer because you sometimes hear about like Netflix resurrection stories like that, or successful ones, like what happened with Arrested Development, this many years after the fact. And then you see some like really obscure, like just total gems of television, or at least totally noteworthy experiments of television, like Better Off Ted, and what was the one that Kristen Ritter was in? That James Vanderbeek played himself in, but he was a regular character. Don't Trust the Bitch in Apartment 23. That was it.
Oh, okay.
And those two were really cool. It's just that Netflix was able to get a hold of them because they were canceled after like 2 seasons and nobody really gave a shit. Better Off Ted was like legit good. I think the other one was more or less a case of me finding it like unique and odd, and that's why I liked it. Better Off Ted was fucking nuts. It was a laugh trackless sitcom, kind of like how Sledgehammer was supposed to be, about a guy who was an ad exec who worked for one of the most unscrupulous science and research companies in the world, almost like supervillain-esque in their scope, in the scope of their research in their projects. And a lot of its humor stemmed from like very odd situations having to do with mild body horror and stuff. It was just a really cool show and really odd and funny. It didn't even stay on Netflix for that long. I think it was around for like maybe 3 years before somebody was like, wow, this is kind of sucking up our airwaves even after the fact. All right, later. But yeah, Schitt's Creek is one of those. And today that was the one that you sent me in Slack.
Okay, that was just something I came across. Was like, okay, this is too out there to not share with Corey.
Yeah, a YouTube clip delicately entitled "My Ass is Destroyed." And what the scene had illustrated was 3 schoolgirls, guessing, playing a board game. One of the board game spaces, one of the hazard spaces, was you had to let your 2 friends smack you on the ass at the same time.
I don't know the presence.
It's usually a setup for something else, but this is slice of life anime, and so you knew it was going to be comedy. What I didn't know. What I didn't know.
What you were in store for.
To what extent they were going to try to draw the comedic horror out too. And I can't remember what the name of it was because it was kind of weird and alliterative, at least in Hepburn.
Oh God. What was
fucking
it?
hell. I sent a link of it to another friend of mine that like would have appreciated shit like that. Oh, Asobi Asobase. I probably mispronounced it.
No, that looks about right.
Yeah. And the cruel truth of that show is that it came out on Netflix supposedly sometime in 2020, and I had no idea what it was.
I don't think
it did. Recognize it. Yeah, because at that time we were just like, I mean, this was when the pandemic started, so our jobs left us with a shit ton of downtime at home, and we were going through scads of anime, usually to the point where we'd like see something that with a halfway interesting like thumbnail, we'd be like, all right, well, Toradora. And you know, you win some, you lose some, right? Toradora was a big win in its credit, but I never saw that show like not even once. Yeah,
there was a couple like what's in it? The show has like a really long ass title. It's like Degenerate Doesn't Dream of Bunny Girl Senpai or something like that.
Oh, that one just came out though. I've heard about that.
Yeah, I watched that whole series, and the premise was, what the fuck are they doing? And then usually with some of these shows, I'll give them like 2-3 episodes top, and if I'm not interested, I turn it off. But I think like during the pandemic, it's like, well, let's just keep this going. Let's go with it. That's how I sat through all the B-stars for some reason. And I'm still not clean after watching that shit.
Wait, was it B-stars or was it the one episode of Interspecies Reviewers?
Definitely B-stars.
It was definitely B-stars? Okay, all right. Which is a great story, by the way. If you don't know what the drama was behind that, go ahead and look it up. That's big-time Funimation moves right there. Anyway, so yeah, I'd never seen, I'd never heard, so much as heard of this show, and according to what I was reading today, it was on Netflix last year. That stuff I want to get in on like Too Sweet, and it's apparently on Crunchyroll. You confirmed that, right?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I put it on my list of stuff to watch.
Yeah. All right. So I have to remember that when I get my Crunchyroll account back, so I can destroy my own ass and have a good time doing it. I didn't watch the rest of the clip, by the way, because I want to have something to hold on to when I can get watching again.
All right. Here's a crazy thing about Crunchyroll that I don't know if this is common for everybody else. I don't know if it's because I have like an ad blocker or something on my computer, but I have Crunchyroll on my Roku and I have it on my PC. When I watch it, and I have a free account, not paying a dime. So when I watch it on the Roku, obviously there's constant ads. Sometimes the ad repeats like 4 or 5 times in a row before I get back to the show. That's fine.
Yeah.
When I watch it on the PC, all the ads get skipped. I watch the whole thing ad free. It's the weirdest thing, and I don't want to watch all my TV on my computer. But if I get it without ads, like sure, I'll sit here and do that without a problem.
Could it be because browser advertising is more seamless?
I think it has something to do with Crunchyroll's Flash player or whatever they use to play their videos. Because
I guarantee it's not a Flash player anymore.
Yeah, I don't know what they call it. Is it something to do with their cookies or some kind of browser thing? Because I tried to log in earlier today and it would not accept my sign in. I don't know what it was because I wanted to add that ASO base to my queue list.
No shit.
Yeah.
So it was just saying no.
Yeah, it just wouldn't. I mean, I eventually got in. I just closed down the browser, reopened it. So it had something to do with the cookie base or the whatever that they use for tracking or whatever.
ASO base.
Yeah.
I mean, Crunchyroll's got a little jank problem when it comes to a lot of their digital product.
Yeah.
Or their digital delivery, as I think I mean to say. And a website's a website, so it's only as good as the nearly cumbersome amount of browser fragmentation will allow it to be. But when you're working with Roku, you're pretty much working with Roku's OS. So I believe, well, see, here's the thing: they have to create streaming apps for a number of platforms, which is probably more numerous in the amount of browsers that are being used nowadays, at least.
Yeah, because I would think with like internet TV, like Roku and Apple or and Amazon, whatever, and then there's tablets, and then there's cell phone, and then PC viewers are so down that list, like we're not even worried about them. Let it watch ad free.
Yeah, well, yeah. I suppose so. But like inadvertently, PC users or browser watchers end up getting like the better product.
Yeah.
So that's kind of whack. Right. And by the way, I try not to be too insulted at the repeated insurance commercials that these streaming services show me, because I'm not a bad driver. And I don't know who fucking told them, but I haven't had an accident since like 2002.
I've seen that same fucking gecko like 15 times already.
I know. It's either the gecko or Flow or Gecko Flow. I don't, maybe. Or the
There's a fusion I don't need.
Yeah, that's an amalgamation that can stay on the drawing table. Or the fucking emu is the other guy. And it's like I've already got insurance A, B. Stop. This kind of hurts me a little bit. I'm losing confidence in myself as like a daily driver. This sucks. Leave me alone.
I do want to scale it back a little bit. Go back to Star Wars Visions. Did you notice there was one episode that looks like it's taking like all of its artistic cues from Akira Kurosawa?
Oh, the one with the heavy power shading on it.
Yeah.
I think that's on purpose.
Well, obviously it's on purpose.
Yeah. I mean, right.
But it looks like they took an Akira Kurosawa movie and then just replaced the samurai swords with sabers.
Well, well, I think you by this point might be more well in tune to the Star Wars origins than I am. But was George Lucas not inspired, at least in part, by Kurosawa and early samurai movies in creating the imagery for Star Wars?
100%. He was, and most of the following directors on series such as like The Mandalorian and whatever, because there are literally shot-for-shot matches in some episodes of The Mandalorian that match exactly from some Kurosawa movie I can't name at the moment.
I would go ahead and guess Yojimbo, since a lot of westerns took after that one as well.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah. But, everything with the laser swords and the fact that the the Master Jedis wear those huge feudal, Ronin-style outfits, robes.
Right.
That I think one of those anime, one of the directors on those projects is kind of like being super on the nose about it and suggesting to people that, without this one guy, there wouldn't be so much of this fucking space wizard soap opera that you're looking at right now. Maybe you want to go check out his early movies. Yeah, they're like 4 hours long, but you fucks just watched an entire you'll burn an entire TV season of Helmet Head and the Kid in like a single sitting. I think you can stomach a 3.5 samurai epic. Now what say you? Go do some homework. That's pretty cool. That was the one also with the guy that had like the umbrella spinny
Yep.
With a spinny lightsaber in it too. I remember somebody trying to like throw some shade at that earlier, and I'm not like the biggest Star Wars fanboy at the moment, but even I knew that was based on a very real sort of defensive bladed piece of equipment from back in the day. Now
really?
that was yeah. Shit, you didn't know? Look it up, or well, somebody would have to have like posted a kind of a deep dive into the origins of that design by now. I'm pretty sure. Just Twitter and avoid all the poop if you can. Go find it. But that was like from back in the day when people were like just going mad about weapons, like some dude coming up with a revolver that's got like 2 barrels and it's on an axle, and then the barrels like switch sides so that you could, I guess, load one of them while the other one's shooting or firing off.
And hopefully crazy. The right one fires. Yeah,
pepperbox pistols, that crazy shit. Of course, somebody's going to take a bunch of samurai blades, stick them on an umbrella, and be like, "Oh yeah, I'm tearing this battlefield up today." But I thought it was really cool. It's like a callback to those sorts of those old feudal modes. The imagery sticks, and Star Wars couldn't be a more notable example of that. So That was pretty cool. That's one of the ones that I'm interested in. Aside from the Trigger ones, which, by the way, I don't think you had to watch the trailer too closely to pick those out.
No, they kind of stuck out.
Yeah, it's like, okay, well, here's a lady with orange hair, and this guy's got teal and yellow. It must be Trigger. What I didn't know about...
They can't be accused of going to their normal trope where the bad guy were aliens the whole time.
Yeah, because they're all aliens.
Yeah, they're all aliens to begin with.
That's right. What some people didn't know about Hiroyuki Imai, the animator that founded the studio, was that he's
Imiyashi?
I'm sorry, Imiyashi. God damn it. I was thinking of somebody else that he worked with on Dead Leaves.
I only know that because he's actually directing one of the episodes.
Oh yeah, he is, because he will actually do like sketches of X-Wings and stuff and post them to his social medias every once in a while.
Oh, cool.
The guy's a fan. So expect like some pretty turgid product to come out of him.
If Disney lets him.
Well, if Disney lets him. Well, it's not like he's going to be doing Leia in the bronze bikini for the entire... He probably got all of that out of his system with Kill La Kill anyway. So
actually, since this drops next month, every episode's probably done with production 100% by now.
Oh, well, it's anime. It ought to be.
Yeah. Yeah. And we shoot tomorrow.
Yeah. We're going to South Park this bitch.
Oh, God.
Imagine being in that sort of a workflow. Sorry. Anyway, so who is... Okay, if Imaishi is directing one of the episodes, who is spearheading the other one?
Otsaka.
I'm not familiar.
Mashiko Otsaka. I'm probably butchering the name, but that's the best I can do as a southern white guy.
Stick with that. Mashiko Ushida. Can Brad be dating Colty? She is pregnant. I'm probably not on the right track here.
What site did you go to?
Okay, Masiko Utsuka. All right, there we go. Oh, Little Witch Academia, awesome. And FLCO. Did he work on FLCO? That's pretty. No, I'll do this afterwards. Sorry.
Oh wow, that's some cross promotion because like one of these studios also did Little. Oh wait, no, the Studio Trigger did Little Academia.
Studio Trigger did Little Witch Academia, and I do believe that this particular director was in Imeishi's kind of, stable of fools that worked at Gainax at the time.
Right.
Before Gurren Lagann became a thing. Anyway, sorry. So yeah, that's 2 from Trigger. And who else do we have?
Let's see. Oh boy.
Production AG. Figured that out.
Yep, they're only doing the final episode. That's Kenji Kameyama. Mm-hmm. Let's see. The very first episode is Kamikaze Doga. Mm-hmm. And as far as the only thing I know that they've done was the introduction. None of the episodes, just the introduction to JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
Huh. All right. Well, it's kind of like what's a little bit disappointing about this is that because it is Star Wars, you're not going to get a slice of life riff on the day-to-day of like the droids or whatever.
Actually, there is a droid episode.
Well, there may be a droid episode, but it's not going to be in the same flavor as like Kyoto. You know what I mean?
Oh. Yeah, no, it's probably like this droid has the ability to tap into the Force or some bullshit like that.
Yeah, it's not going to be
God, I hope it's not that.
Qui-Gon Jinn's unappreciated garbage can butler or something like that.
It's a Gronk droid.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, you know what? That would have been the thing. Is the Gronk droid the box with the rubber legs?
It is, and do you know what their primary function was?
To be garbage.
No.
No?
Battery supply. They would go around and recharge other droids.
The Empire doesn't have very strong inventors. That's piss poor.
Well, they predated the Empire, but yeah.
Oh, they did predate the Empire?
Yes.
Oh, fuck it. All right, well, we've got the Ford Edsel. Like, there's not a whole lot for me to say about that, I guess. Before you can run, before you can fly even, you gotta walk on 2 stubby little rubber hose legs.
Hyperspace.
Yeah. See, that would have been cool. It would have been cool to have, like, a day in the life of, like, one of those little asshole droids. Just kind of, like, shuffling to and fro, trying not to trip over the wires and the hoses and stuff. And just having to make do with being your own insignificant little self in the midst of all these grandiose sword fights and fights and whatnot.
Aside from like some random episode of Clone Wars, I think there was something like that, but I think it was probably like C-3PO and R2 probably. But I just instantly thought of an episode from season 1 of Love, Death, and Robots, where it's a trio of robots walking around and doing exactly what you described. Just like, hey, what's this all about?
Yeah, that sucks that it's like relegated to high concept, unlicensed stuff though. No, there's 2 ways to look at that. Because some people would be like, well, this isn't like Star Wars at all. What are you doing?
Yeah,
and they'd be right. So, well, I want to see my little Gronk droid get a little bit of recognition there. Maybe he falls in love with a Dragon Maid. Who the fuck knows? But the Dragon Maid doesn't love him back because she has been implied very strongly to be lesbian.
Well, yeah, she's got the hots for Hayabushi or whatever her name is.
Kobayashi, interestingly enough, I found this out. She actually isn't gay. I thought that was their deal.
So did I.
Yeah, not that they, not that like there was.
I know she has like a maid fascination.
Yeah, because of her otaku obsessions, right? But that friction comes from. What's the Dragon Maid's name? I forgot. Because it's not in the title. Turo, thank you. The friction comes from Turo thinking that that's what the situation is, and the situation is not that. Even though visually, our lead character in an office environment wears a tie and a button-up shirt, and talks at length when she gets drunk about what else? Fucking maid cafes, slice of life harem animes and stuff like that. And then it was like explicitly stated in the 2nd season that she's not gay, and it's like, nobody was complaining really. It added a layer of complexity to the show. Okay, I mean that's interesting, but
and nobody over here was complaining,
except for maybe Toru. But we haven't seen that happen yet. It was in the scene where the nude dragon makes her first appearance, and you'd have to assume, huh?
The new? Did you say new or nude?
New dragon.
From this year?
From the second season, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm not gonna I had that part. I had the part of it spoiled for me a little bit, and I don't want to, flatten that out.
I think I'm just because that's one of those series on Crunchyroll where they it's uploading on a weekly basis, and I think I'm one behind what they currently have up.
Okay, so it's being simulcast. Very well, which means that as soon as I get my television back, I'll be able to watch the whole thing.
Hey, you can watch on your computer ad free too.
Yeah, I could do that. Right enough. All right. So that's Star Wars Visions.
Yeah, I think we've gone over an hour now. I think that should be it. Once again, Loki, thank you. We'll get to you another time. You're going to be our Matt Damon.
No. Loki's not our Matt Damon yet. Our video game Wall of Shame is our Matt Damon by this point.
Oh, our
video
gaming
game
confessions.
Sins. Our gaming confessions. That's what
I want to do that before episode 100. I really do.
We should just do it for episode 100.
That's not a bad idea.
We could have other people chime in. Remember, it was going to be like interaction from some of our friends' shows as well.
Yeah, and I have I still have some of their sins written down, so I could still quote them on it.
Yeah. You wonder if 3 years later, 4 years, 5 years later, they're still hanging on to them.
Yeah, because I've been. Oh God, yeah, I had this concept going a while ago now.
Mm-hmm.
Oh well, we'll get to it. Maybe we'll make it a Patreon exclusive.
Maybe one day. I'm watching the trailer again right now. I just got to look at the Umbrella Saber.
Oh yeah.
There is going to be a slice of life one. It looks like.
Maybe with some Jedi magic mixed into it.
Jedi magic. What? Anyway, I'm gonna go get some ice cream and then probably take a shit, and then
in that order.
Not in that order. I might play some more Smash Brothers. Dude, I've been playing a lot of Smash recently.
Who's your main?
Well, my main is Pac-Man right now because I'm trying to play through World of Light. And some parts of that mode are stupid hard because it does rely upon it relies rigidly upon spirit synchronization, which is something I didn't think about. So it's been Pac-Man so far, and I assume that when I get the rest of these assholes unlocked and I have more free range, it's going to be Banjo-Kazooie because I like Banjo-Kazooie, and luckily for me, I actually like Banjo-Kazooie's moveset as well.
I need to get that game.
What, Smash?
No, not Banjo-Kazooie. I need to get another copy of that. The original.
The one for the N64?
Yes.
What consoles do you have right now?
Almost everything except for the current gen.
Current gen. Do you have... can you run Game Pass off of your PC?
Oh, I don't have any Xbox stuff.
You don't have any Xbox stuff? All right. No. Well, from what I've been told, a lot of Xbox's stuff is compatible with PC. With
yes,
the PC market.
I have heard.
You can probably go get a Rare Replay off of there, and it'll have both Banjo-Kazooie games. I think it'll have Nuts and Bolts too, which is pretty interesting because I never got to play that one.
Yeah, I'm not interested in Nuts and Bolts.
Well, Nuts and Bolts aren't interested in you either.
Good.
Yeah, they're too busy holding fucking Space Mountain together, or at least making it.
No, that's not Nuts and Bolts. That's duct tape and tears and prayers.
That's MacGyver working overtime. Look,
MacGyver's
guys,
now an engineer or an Imagineer.
This is one of your most well-known attractions. Just give me a fucking budget, please. I've seen you work wonders with coconuts and duct tape, MacGyver.
Here's some bottle caps and some paper clips.
You get down there and keep people from dying on the meager resources that we've allotted you. That's what you get for being too good at your job.
By the way, the most money-making company in the entire world right now
is Disney?
Probably outside of Amazon, but yeah.
God, how scary is that?
Very. especially when they pay their employees so little. Hey, let's close the episode before I get into trouble.
Yeah, sure. Of course. I mean, as if the whole blacklight thing isn't setting you up for that.
Oh my goodness.
You want to pimp that shit out too, because that's a hell of a project you're trying to push there.
Yeah, well, it's an ongoing project, and the first episode of it did drop, and I needed the concept. This is like a Cretins Guild podcast exclusive for you guys, because I haven't really pushed out everything saying what this is. Basically, I'm going to go around to different resorts in the Orlando area. So
it's not tied to any particular brand yet? I thought it was going to be part of your theme park enterprise empire. I'm going to
try and keep it as wide as possible, but basically I'm going to go to all these different resorts with a black light and see just how clean these places are being serviced.
Yeah, you're going to Chris Hansen the shit out of these places.
I've got one in the can. I need to start editing it, and I've got another one booked, and I want to try and do this at least once a month. And the goal is to do like some of the most well-known local resorts that are affordable. Now, I figure because the first episode just went up, it's not going to get a lot of traction until maybe the second or third episode.
Right.
And by then, maybe if my Patreon support can pick up, I can go to like even bigger and bigger places, because I'm paying for everything out of my own pocket, and I don't want to.
Right.
If this is something I can get some help with, that would be awesome. And I've got some early bird specials if anybody wants to jump in on that.
Yeah. Okay. All right. But I got to ask one question. You said like mostly affordable resorts, but it wouldn't be a series worth having if you didn't do recognizable ones. So what I want to know is...
That's the goal. Go for like big name, but also affordable.
Yeah. But there's also... Remember, it's not just Disney and the International Drive corridor that comprises most of the tourism vortex that is Central Florida. There's a lot of Kissimmee, and there's a lot of legends in Kissimmee too. So, there's Wilson a couple
I'm kicking around the idea of going to one in Celebration, a couple on like in downtown maybe, but. If it gets to the point where I need to go to a shithole because every place I've been going is clean as hell, I'll probably go somewhere near Old Town or close to where they filmed the Florida Project. Actually, dude, I should go to the hotel where they filmed the Florida Project.
You should.
Not stay there, though. But just make a video and get the fuck
out. I know where that place is.
So do I.
Yeah. You know why I know where that place is? Because none of the people that I worked with wanted to deliver pizza to it.
Oh.
Fucking tourists, man. They tip for shit. Anyway, you should do that, though, just because of its pop cultural significance now.
Right. Yeah. Oh, that's... Yeah. Because that just dawned on me. Maybe I'll do that if I feel gutsy enough and I can book online. Or I don't know. Maybe if the place is even still standing, it's probably one of those walk up and cash only type places. I'm not sure.
No, it's because it is near Disney. It's got to be, it's got to be on the up and up at least as much as it can be.
We take PayPal.
They do, yeah. Maybe a little bit of Bitcoin. Probably no Ethereum though, and no Doge because they're not that ironic. We're running a business here, damn it. It's just, man, the people that stayed there didn't tip for shit.
No.
So that's the kind of business. That's the kind of place you're going to be checking out, yeah. But should be pretty affordable.
Well, if you want to check out this series, you can find it on my YouTube channel, which is Skipper Bob's Breakdowns. You can also check out our other co-host, Jay, his Square Pegs YouTube channel. That's the one without Sarah Michelle Gellar.
Wait, what?
Is that right?
Oh, Sarah Jessica Parker.
Sarah Jessica Parker. Well, it doesn't have her either.
He's trying to get something together. I heard it's going to be a Patreon reward. I don't know. I mean, the milestone's pretty fucking stiff, but never say never, right? See.
Yeah. Wait, I mean, he's super close to 1,000 subs right now. So, hey, go ahead and subscribe to Square Pegs on YouTube. We also have a merch shop on tpublic.com that features the art of Tom Solo. Our high-cost lawyers, Boots and Beasley from Bums R Us, assure us that all the products are legally confirmed to keep you warm on those cold summer nights.
Yes. Wait, what?
Yes. Okay.
All right.
There you go.
Yeah.
We are part of the PODFIX network, and to all of our followers, new and old, we say, welcome to the guild.
And all of your cold summer nights.
This was a podcast of the PODFIX Network. You can check out more shows like it at podfixnetwork.com.